Welcome back to Weird Careers. I'm Eric.
And I'm Dani.
All over the world, people have jobs. And some of those jobs we don't even know exist.
There are professions that we don't know much about. And there are jobs that aren't, let's say, dinner table friendly.
Well, we're here to explore all of that on this here podcast.
We will be interviewing workers from all over the world about their strange and interesting jobs.
That's right, everything from specialized retail to sex work. Plus, everything in between and outside of said box. Oh, and if you're not already, please make sure that you are accompanied by an adult for this podcast. It can get spicy.
Throughout the course of this series, we will take a deep dive into each and every career we stumble upon.
Do you think that you have an interesting job? Maybe you do. Maybe your neighbor does. Maybe your best friend or your weed dealer. Okay, maybe not that last one. But if you do, stay tuned to the end of the show on how to get a hold of us. On today's show, we have Amanda from Trinkets by Amanda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely. So first of all, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Gosh, I find that's always such a harder question than you think it is. So I am 33 years old. I'm married to my awesome husband and business partner, Jesse, who is here.
Hi,
here too.
Jesse.
Hello.
We have 3 awesome kids. And I am a clay artist who runs a trinkets business, sculpting and making custom jewelry and sculptures.
So that kind of leads us into our next question of what you actually do.
So I tend to make personalized jewelry or sculptures incorporating various materials from cremains and ashes, either from people's loved ones or their pets. Breast milk, I've done umbilical cords, hair, fur, placenta, and most recently we've started incorporating semen into pieces.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that before.
No, it came up randomly. I feel like my entire business was a giant accident.
Tell us the story.
Well, first I kind of got into working with clay as a therapy for myself. I didn't really intend for it to blow up or become this giant business. I just started doing something that I loved, and then my Facebook friends and followers kept throwing different projects at me, and they would order, so I was making enough money to kind of get by, and I was cool with that. And then I had a friend who tragically lost her son in an accident, and she asked me if I could make some memorial jewelry with incorporating her ashes, and it's the first time I ever worked with an outside material before. And I didn't think that I could say no, so I, of course, did it. They turned out absolutely beautiful, and because I posted those, I had more memorial requests, and I had a friend who, asked, well, if you could do ashes, maybe you could do breast milk. So I had to do a whole bunch of research. I figured out that I could do it. Most artists or most people that incorporate these kind of materials into jewelry tend to use resin, but because I'm a clay artist, it's a different medium that we're not that you don't necessarily see as often. So it's been a whole other process trying to figure out how to incorporate everything. And I don't know, it's just been request after request of different and new things. So it's kind of led me to where we are now.
So you say breast milk. I've seen a few different companies doing that. My wife had one ring made back a couple years ago from some lady in Dorchester.
Yep.
I've seen things with, remains and whatnot, but I have never, and as you have coined it, seen anybody do jizzy jewelry. What's the story there?
Honestly, it started out as a giant joke. I had somebody who commented on one of my breast milk videos on TikTok asking if I'd ever incorporated semen into a piece before. And when I first saw it, I was so offended because here I am making this beautiful breast milk piece, right? And there are some breast milk pieces that I make where, the mom has lost the child.
Yep.
So some of them are very special and have grieving families behind them.
Of course.
So, of course, I was like super offended, but it became the joke of the office. So me and my creative team would joke about it quite often. My husband tried to convince me to do it a lot earlier. For a couple of months, we were kind of brainstorming and trying to figure out different things that we could do, new products that we could bring, and that kind of stuff. Because we always like to keep things fun and interesting. Okay. It just makes things go a little bit easier and makes a bigger challenge, I guess, in our creative process. So my creative assistant threw it out there again as a joke, and he's like, I even have the best name for it, Jizzy Jewelry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So I ended up posting it up on Facebook as a joke, thinking that, everybody would just be appalled by it or kind of grossed out. But everybody thought that it was so genius, and I got so many serious requests for it that we kind of just ran with it. So after we got a couple of orders that were put through, and we had samples on the way, that's when I knew that I had to actually buckle down and test it out to make sure that I could do it for when their samples arrived.
Oh, dang. Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned umbilical cord? Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about that one.
So a lot of moms will save different things from when their child's born. Mm-hmm. One of the big things that moms like to save are the umbilical cord clip with a little piece of umbilical cord that falls off.
Yep.
So people can send it in to me, and I can either grind it up into like a powder to incorporate it into the clay itself, or one thing that I like to do is create like a little window in the piece with UV resin to kind of encapsulate it.
So for those of us because we can't see visuals, for the memorial pieces, do you do certain designs, or is that all varies?
Honestly, we have some popular designs that most people request after seeing photos on my business page. But the one thing that I really pride myself on is that every single order is totally customizable. So you could come up with something that I've never done before, or that's completely crazy, or something that's just extremely personal and special for to memorialize that loved one, and we can create it and design it for you. So nothing's really off the table. I am going to be putting some of our most popular designs on my website just to kind of streamline it, so that way the more popular designs are available to just click and purchase instead of having to go through the whole consult process. So
yeah, I've seen some of your TikToks. I didn't realize I followed you on there, and then I was like, wait a second. So I've seen some of them, the designs for like the Jizzy Jewelry. I absolutely love the ideas of like how the penis is and then the boobs and all that. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, no, the dirty trinkets have been something that I've been doing for the last year and a couple months.
That's a great name. I just have to say that is a fantastic name.
Yeah, again, by total accident, I had a client request a ginger penis I think she wanted keychain, and so I decided to say yes, that I would do it, and I made a video of it, and that was my first viral video on TikTok, was a ginger penis keychain that I sculpted. It got like 6 or 7 million views.
Wow.
And that blew up my Dirty Trinkets line. Now if you like go to my website, you can see all the designs. Like we have probably close to like over 100 different designs of penises, vaginas, and breasts, all dressed up as different things.
We'll probably add those in the description below for anyone who does want to check out your website. Did you have to, because I know you said you work with clay. Did you have to do any specific schooling or?
No. I just took it up as a hobby, really. And then I have this really over obsessive personality. So once I pick something up, it's like it's all I can think about or all I can do and do 24/7. So I tend to learn, like, not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I tend to learn things really quickly, and I problem solve pretty fast when I'm going through things. So I kind of just taught myself.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to learn how to do all that. I've always found it fascinating.
Yeah, it's really therapeutic too, kind of just getting lost in the creative process. So
Yeah, for sure. So that leads into, obviously, do you do more than just jewelry?
yeah, no, I do a lot of sculpting. Most popular, I think, would be pet sculptures, either for people who have lost pets or who want to have fun little sculptures and trinkets of them. I've done angel sculptures. Most recently, I did a bearded dragon, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. It turned out really, really awesome. It was my first one I ever did, and I posted a picture, and everybody thought that it was real.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it was pretty cool. I don't know, what else do I do?
Rear view mirror decorations.
Oh yeah, rear view mirror decorations.
Air fresheners.
Yeah, I've done wall hangers,
Crop gibbets.
crock gibbets. Honestly, anything that people throw at me.
Apple Watch band.
Yeah, we've done an Apple Watch band too.
Ooh.
So literally everything that, anything that people throw at me. Yeah, wall hangers.
Cufflinks.
We'll keep the Apple Watch band in mind.
But yeah, no, there's been a lot of really cool things that have come through. I have to sculpt a cruise ship coming up.
Ooh.
Funny enough, for one of the Jizzy jewelry pieces, we have somebody sending in his and hers samples, because we also do female samples as well.
Okay, interesting.
Right? So we're doing an abstract explosion sculpture to kind of represent their passion and intimacy, which is really cool.
Wow, I love that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
That's
actually really
amazing.
excited to get to that one.
So you do Jizzy jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
The
dirty trinkets.
the dirty trinkets. What else do you do? What else, the jewelry wise, what else do you do?
So we do breast milk pieces, or like with umbilical cord and placenta, we do memorial pieces with ashes, hair, fur, and we do sculptures and stuff like that. I also like to do intention pieces, where I mix herbs and crystals into the clay.
So you do the Jizzy jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
You do the dirty trinkets.
Yep.
Which, again, I love both of those names. What else do you do?
So outside of everything else that we do, I also do intention pieces, which is where I take herbs and crystals and incorporate them into the translucent clay so they really shine through.
Cool.
And we do, every herb or plant has an energy associated with it. So I do like positive energy pieces, calming and tranquility. What else is there? I've had a lot of fertility pieces requested, strength and protection and that kind of stuff. I just really love designing them, and I think those are the ones that I have the most fun doing.
Yeah.
But I think it's just I kind of, it's almost like a meditation, like meditative process when I do them.
Nice.
And there's so much more creative freedom for myself because they're designs that I've previously done up. But yeah, because they're designs that I've previously done, there's a little less pressure from the custom pieces that I do. So it's a much more relaxing process for me.
Nice.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to take a quick moment right now to have a word from our sponsors. Don't turn that dial. We'll be right back.
Are the big corporations taking your sales with fancy images that just aren't in your small business budget? Not to worry. At Cardinal Imaging, they take everything to heart. Cardinal Imaging is a small business supporting small businesses, so they get it. Check out cardinalimages.ca for galleries and contact info. Also, if you are a listener to this podcast, you will receive not only your demo images, but your first shoot absolutely free. So, just email Eric at cardinalimages.ca with the subject line podcast promo to receive your free shoot today. Cardinal Imaging, affordable solutions for professional media.
And welcome back. So how do you add the personal materials or to these pieces of jewelry, or is it different for each sample?
It's totally different depending on what we're incorporating into the piece. So Jizzy jewelry, for example, we need to have it powdered. Trying to mix liquid into clay is going to be a very messy thing. So, and it's not something that we want to do. So we do have to turn it into a powder beforehand, which we have our like little secret concoction that we use to powder it. And then the powder just kind of gets folded into the translucent clay, kind of like mixing flour into dough.
Okay.
And the translucent clay takes on the color of whatever you're mixing into it. So you'll get that natural color still shining through.
Nice.
And then breast milk's the same process as Jizzy jewelry. It comes as a liquid. We need to powder it. Ashes are really simple because obviously it's something that we can still just fold in and incorporate into the clay. The only things that I don't put directly into the clay, because the clay does have to be baked, would be hair, because otherwise it'll just burn and it'll smell like burnt hair. Right.
Yeah.
And if we're doing chunks of umbilical cord where we're putting it into a window, so those things get added to the pieces after the clay portion is already made, and then we go from there.
So you're dealing with bodily fluids. You're dealing with essentially bio waste. So what kind of safety measures are you taking so that you're not getting potentially infected by some of this material?
So surprisingly, even in liquid form, by the time it gets to me, there is very, very little danger, if any at all.
Okay.
So especially with the semen, because that most people are completely are extremely worried about the biohazard of semen, right?
Of course.
But STIs or any diseases, usually a couple hours after it's left the body, it's no longer contagious.
That's interesting.
So I did a lot of reading and research into it. So there are certain things like Hep C, which can live like up to 6 weeks outside the body. But generally speaking, it's not something that gets transferred via semen. It's more a blood pathogen thing.
Okay.
Even if it is in semen, we wear gloves and safety like PPE when we're processing the liquid.
Of course.
Once it's completely powdered, like you cannot catch anything from powdered semen or powdered breast milk. So there's nothing there. That, and I just do a lot of avid hand washing.
So what's all included in your PPE then?
We do gloves. What else? Gloves and Lysol wipes. Basically, because it's not like it's gonna get anywhere else. So it's, I mean, unless the liquid splashes up, but we're dealing with such low. Sorry, Jesse. He's the one who has to process everything, so he's the one who gets who has to deal with it all. But because we're dealing with such small amounts, it's not going to go anywhere except for where we're putting it.
That makes sense. So if there's any of the personal materials left over, do you send that back with them?
So it depends on what I'm doing. So for memorial pieces with ashes, hair, flowers, or anything like that, I send all the materials back to my clients, any leftovers. Breast milk, I normally keep the any extra powder on hand for up to a year before. So in case they need anything, in case like something goes wrong with shipping and we have to remake something, we have it there and they don't have to resend it. And then Jizzy jewelry, we're just going to be, any extra powder is going to be disposed of.
That's fair.
And then, but oftentimes I end up with a lot of extra clay left over. Because it's almost impossible to measure out the perfect amount of clay to powder ratio, because it all depends on what the clay will take. And I always end up with leftovers. So I usually end up making freebies for my clients. So they usually end up always getting like a free piece or two, just because it seems like such a waste to throw it away. So yeah.
That makes sense.
So do you have like a return policy, or is it like here it is. Do you like it? If you like it, I'm going to send it out. Or if you don't like it, I'll make some. I'll change it now. How does that work?
We for custom pieces, we always send finished photos of the pieces before we ship things out. If things aren't specified during the consult, I normally take creative freedom. So, for example, if somebody says that they want a mix of purples, but they don't tell me the exact purple that they want, I will use that as creative freedom to make a bunch of purples and marble it in. But if I send photos of what I've made, given the specifications, and it's something that they don't like, I'm fully willing to redo the pieces at 50% of the original cost.
Of
so
course.
they would have to cover it, because they obviously are going to get the original pieces that I made.
Of course.
So, and then I can remake the pieces afterwards.
Because you still have materials you still have to cover.
Materials and time. If something is wrong, that's completely my fault. Where either I misunderstood something or I forgot something, because I'm human and mistakes happen. Right?
No way.
But I will redo those at that point completely for free. If something gets damaged during shipping, I can normally figure out a way to redo it. Other than that, though, we do have a no refund policy because of the time and attention that goes into everything. So.
Right on. Now, what you've mentioned, you've had some really interesting requests. What are some of those? Let's give it a top three. What are some of those? What are some of the what the oddest requests that you had? The weirdest requests that you've had? And Jesse is lighting up like a Christmas tree right now.
Well, he's the one who deals with most of the consults, so he gets all these requests and forwards them to me. I think I'm going to say this is maybe the worst, and I pride myself on not judging my clients. So people can come to me, and it's going to be judgment free, and I'm always going to try to say yes for the most part within certain parameters. But we did have somebody reach out who wanted my foot powder or foot shavings incorporated into a piece to send to them.
Oh my.
Right? So I've never incorporated pieces of feet into pieces before. So I didn't say no, but I did make a hefty price tag on it, and we never heard back. So that was fine.
Well, I mean, that sounds kind of more like an OnlyFans thing.
Yeah. Normally I don't include my anything from me in pieces outside of like maybe or outside of my hands touching it from
Well,
sculpting
I mean,
things.
that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, you're creating art from other people's stuff, not from your stuff, right? Like,
Well, no, exactly. And actually it's pretty funny because we have a lot of people that get either confused or they don't look into it, so they don't understand, where we have a lot of people reaching out to offer donations for pieces, and we have to let them know that we only work with samples that clients send. So
of course.
People are trying to get paid for sending in samples to me.
It's not that kind of business, folks.
No, unfortunately. So it's been a little crazy having those kind of messages kind of roll in. I have had the odd unsolicited picture and videos sent of people's process. Luckily Jesse wasn't the one who opened that. I was the one who opened that one.
Just a little awkward, just a little bit.
And we've also had requests for we had somebody who has a piss kink.
Okay, yeah.
So they asked if they could send in urine, if we could make a piece with that, which we actually can. It's not that hard.
Okay.
It'd be the same process as breast milk or semen. We just ask that it be a very high water intake day.
Yeah,
That's fair.
you don't want someone having asparagus the night before.
Right. Well, I mean, the semen samples alone tend to be very pungent. So, especially after being in the mail, especially during those hot summer days.
You should get them to send it in like a cooler pack.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it would make a difference.
Okay.
No,
That was
we've
fun.
had some clients who've who've let us know they're storing it before mailing it, and they're like, it's been sitting there for like a day and it already smells horrible. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it is what it is. It's natural. It's, you know, there's no way around it.
Just wear a mask.
Yeah. Yeah. I think little Vicks under your nose to mask the smell.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's good for changing diapers too.
What's the best part of your job? Like, is there anything, like, a favorite thing that you do, or?
I think the best part of my job is being able to make something special for somebody that is completely 100% for them. Especially with a lot of the stories that we hear while doing memorial consults. There's a lot of sad and really tragic stories that we hear. So being able to offer my clients that kind of healing really means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to my team as well.
Yeah.
So I think that might be one of my favorite parts, is being able to impact people in that kind of way.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I also can't say another huge part that I love is being able to walk into my office every day and just be able to do something that I absolutely love, and that I get to be creative every single day, instead of, you know, doing a typical 9 to 5.
Yeah. It's not work if you enjoy it.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, it's still it's still a lot of work, but we definitely, I definitely enjoy it. So, there's been a lot more, peace in my life since really doing something that I enjoy. And, there's been a lot more fulfillment.
Oh, that's good. That's it does help with the grieving process for them, and it's inspiring.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I guess that's would kind of be part of the more bad parts of the jobs. Like what would the worst part of your job be?
The worst part, I mean, I can't really say the worst part would be processing anything because I don't handle that. So I kind of passed that off. I think the hardest part is because we've blown up so much, and because I have such a large following, which it's always a blessing, and I'm super, super grateful for. There's a lot of expectations put on me. So as much as I love what I do, it's hard when there's timelines attached and when there's certain expectations attached, and especially because we're such a new business. Like, I've only been doing this for a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like my business is still within, like, I technically registered it January 2022.
Oh, wow.
So we're not even a full physical year into the business yet. So it's been such a huge learning curve going from doing something that I simply love to actually turning it into a business, and like bringing on a creative team, and going from, I think I when I was doing it as a hobby kind of side gig thing, I was doing 10 orders a week maybe. Yeah. And now, you know, we can get up to like over 100 orders a week.
Wow. That's awesome.
Right. It's great. And one of the things that I love is that I always get new things. So, and as I learn and as I grow as an artist myself, things tend to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more detailed, which means that things take more time. So I have all of these orders, and they're all different, from size to complexity to design, and trying to figure out timelines, I think, has been one of the hardest things. Not only on my clients, because of course, you know, they want to know when their pieces are going to get there. And I totally understand. I'm, you know, born into the instant gratification generation.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I hate waiting for things too. But it's been hard to kind of separate myself from the anxiety of feeling, or like in the pressure of trying to be as fast as possible, but also putting as much love and care into every single piece. So I think that would be the hardest part, would be dealing with that. And sometimes we get some not so nice people who don't have the empathy or understanding that I'm still a human being, and I'm the only clay artist as a part of my team. Yep. So there's only so fast that I can go, even after working, you know, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's only so much I can do. So
you've gone from being two people. So you've gone from being the artist and the processor
Well, no, he was in the beginning. It was just me. It was
Okay. Oh, you met. There you go.
yeah. It was just me. I was doing my own little thing.
Yeah.
My husband had his job that he went to, and then it was Facebook Reels that blew up.
Nice.
Where all of a sudden overnight I was getting like hundreds of messages every single day, and it was so exciting and so surreal that, and I almost didn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? So like I'm trying to talk to everybody, and I'm doing these consultations, and I'm getting these orders in, and I have to wait for materials, so the overload didn't really clue in yet because I couldn't physically see how much stuff I had to do. And I kept telling my husband, I'm like, I'm going to need some help. Like, I'm going to need some help. He's like, yeah, but you don't know if this is going to last. He's like, I could, quit my job to help you, but you don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to last. And I think we got up to over $30,000 in sales, like within a month.
Wow.
And I'm just like I need help, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely. Jeez.
Like, yeah. So I'm just like, like I need help. And like, over the since we blew up, we've maintained that. We've averaged about $32,000 in sales a month.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, we've hit some like bumps along the way. Like my household got COVID, so
no.
we were shut down for 2 weeks because obviously I didn't want. We run out of my home, so I couldn't have my team come in either.
Oh, of course.
So we've had a lot of bumps along the way, but and I did overstaff at one point, so things were a little hectic and a little crazy that way. But yeah, no, we've learned a lot. We've grown a lot, and I think, for our first year in business, doing as much as we have, and being the only clay artist, pumping or doing everything and getting everything out has been it's been really crazy and really well, I'm really proud of it.
You should. You should be. You've got quite the business going on here. Like what you do is very unique. What is your? So you said you've got a team. What does your team look like? What do you got?
So right now I have my husband as my business partner, and he mainly does the consultations. And he knows me so well that 99% of the time my clients don't know whether they're talking to me or him, because he knows how to talk he knows me so well. And he's just so good at the process. And then I have my two creative assistants, Lydia and Briar. They're a husband and wife duo as well. And they do, so after I'm done the clay portion, they take the pieces to do the gloss coating, assembly, wire wrapping. So everybody calls Briar the wire wizard.
Nice.
So he does most of the wire wrapping on that end. And then once the orders are finished, they go over to Levi, who is my shipper receiver / photographer. So I swear to God, that kid has so many job titles. It's a wonder that he's able to take everything I throw at him, because I keep putting more and more on his plate. But he photographs everything. He messages everybody their finished photos. He packages everything and then gets everything out. But he also deals with the incoming of materials as well, and follow-ups and all the office managerial stuff. Is that a word?
It is now. We'll contact the Oxford Dictionary after the show. So that's a 5-person team.
Yeah, for right now. Yeah.
And obviously expanding.
Yeah, well, I did have people helping with consults beforehand, and I did try to bring in more people, but our space is just so small, and we weren't ready for that type of expansion yet, as we were learning and growing and figuring things out. But the plan is, and the dream is, and actually I have a property picked out already.
That leads perfectly. Like what's next?
Right.
What is next for you guys?
So the plan is to purchase this property, which has like a 20 by 40 foot workshop.
Nice.
It's huge. And like right now we're in like a 10 by 12 room. Right. So this is,
talk about an upgrade,
right? Plus it has like an upstairs to it too.
Ooh,
right?
A little loft.
So
a little smoking area, you know what I'm saying?
But no, it's huge. So we want to completely renovate it. So that way, not only is it a bigger workspace for for my team and potentially a bigger team, it's also going to have a huge space for like clay and wine nights where I can invite people in and do workshops.
Oh, cool. That's neat.
Right. So I could do like kids workshops and really get them into that creative aspect. We can do healing workshops where if we do intention pieces and stuff like that, or even if people, whether they want to travel or they're local, if they want to come and make their own memorial pieces or even breast milk pieces. If I had those in-person workshops, that's something that I really want to do as well. So that would be the expansion process, plus bringing on more of a team would mean that we could be quicker in our response times, quicker in our turnaround times, and then maybe even after that expand even more to not only help more people, but also give other artists a chance to do something like this as well.
So that's your physical presence. You're getting a workshop. You're physically expanding. That's awesome. That's great. What about your digital footprint? You where are you putting your stuff? Like we're definitely gonna make sure we got to get your name out there too, right? So like what are your socials? How do you do it? What do you do? How's the digital aspect of this work for you?
So right now I'm on my Facebook profile tends to be my biggest presence. And then we have our business page. So I'm just Amanda Booth on Facebook. I actually got verified. I have a little blue check mark now, right?
There you go.
So you can find me on Facebook with the little blue check mark. My business page is Trinkets by Amanda Booth. And then on TikTok, I'm at Amanda LD Booth. And Instagram is the same thing, at Trinkets by Amanda Booth, I think. I should really know this. But my website is www. Oh my gosh, I can't
www.
trinketsbyamandabooth.com.
Perfect.
And I actually have a web designer that's working on my website right now. It's still functional. You can still go to it, order stuff, and see everything. But October 10th, it's going to be launching, where it's going to be a lot easier to navigate.
Nice.
There's contact forms, so it's easier to get a hold of us in terms of consultations. And then I am going to have our most popular designs up there. So, it's funny because I always wanted to keep the process very personal. But at the same time, I'm the type of person where I don't like talking to people when I'm buying stuff. I just want to click and buy. I'm not the type of, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to buy whatever I'm impulsively grabbing or whatever I want, and that's it. So I am going to be adding that aspect to the website. But that should be launching October 10th.
Nice. That'll be good.
So before we go on to the our last question, which is our staple, our signature question, we definitely want to say thank you for coming out today, for being here, for taking the time to just sit and talk about what you do with us. We really appreciate you coming out today. I've had a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure Dani's had a lot of fun.
I have had a lot of fun, yes.
All right, fun's been had all around. So thank you so much for coming out today. We really appreciate you coming out and helping us grow this as well.
Of course, it has been a lot of fun. So thank you for having me.
What did you want to do when you grew up?
So I remember in my kindergarten yearbook, when you draw out all this stuff and they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
My number one thing was a mom. So I just wanted to be a mom when I grew up.
That's cute.
Right? Well, I was very naive. Being a mom's great, but then after that, there's still a lot out there. So, but yeah, so I achieved that, and then now we're moving on to other things.
Not once, not twice, but thrice.
Right?
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for coming in today. It's been absolutely lovely having you in the studio here today, and everybody listening at home, we will link Amanda's socials in the description below. Thank you again so much for coming in today, Amanda.
Thank you, guys.
Do you have a cool or interesting job? You never know. Believe it or not, your 9 to 5 may be more interesting than you think.
So don't be shy and shoot us an email at weirdcareerspodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you liked us, please give us a 5-star review on wherever you're listening to us. It really helps us to get seen.
Thanks for tuning in and exploring with us. We hope you will join us next time.
And until then, I'm Eric.
And I'm Dani.
Cheers.
Cheers.